entire evening all laid out in front of us, and I'll be your host this evening. I will have a split personality hosting duty. The first hour of this, I will be aggroed, and then the next 2 hours of this, I will be Skanky J. And so the first hour of this, I put out a post that said, I'm going to deliver an orientation. If you don't know, when I launched this place, it was, I think, June 11th that I hosted a orientation style thing. I spend a lot of time in higher education, and so it's very important to me to go do orientation style things. No, I'm very sorry, Vashamorte. Vaque, I don't know if it's Vache or Vaque, Feshelavash. Like if I were listening to Monty Python, I guess it would be Feshelavash. So I'm going with Vashamorte. Anyways, no, Azari and Shane actually have a very sad thing that they have to deal with. Their cat is sick, and I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're taking care of some family needs and animal needs this evening, so I'm here to help. And so what I wanted to do this evening is just sort of give you guys an orientation to this place. I'm recording this show, so the things that you are like commenting and posting, they're going to be recorded, and I'm going to put it on the block, and people can hear and see what we're talking about here. I'll probably end up doing a separate screencast-o-matic kind of orientation here, because I'd like to go back and forth between Steemit and Discord and sort of talk about how these two things are related. So if you don't know much about how we operate, I kind of want to go through these things and just sort of like walk through some of the policies, walk through some of the spirit of this place, maybe tell you a little bit about the governance, and really just trying to like talk through what the hell is this place? Why are we all here? What are we doing? And that sort of thing. If I can pay somewhat of amount of attention to the chat, if you'd actually like to come on air with me, as long as you have the ability, if you got a microphone and a headset and you want to talk to me, all you have to do is just click 1 in the chat room, and I'm more than happy to go bring you into like a conversation. This, however, just to be very clear, this portion of the show is not the Minnow Mayor Town Hall. This portion of the show is just strictly an orientation. So if you have some like hard-hitting questions you want to give, you are certainly welcome to offer those, but it's going to be an hour from now, not right now. So what we're doing right now is just sort of like walking through all this thing. So the very first thing is sort of what is Steemit and what is Discord, and then what is PalNet and what is the Minnow Support Project. So these are 4 separate things, right? So Steemit, if you haven't figured this out yet, is a blockchain, and it's a cryptocurrency, and it's a blog, and they're all sort of mashed into one big conglomerate that now has over 400,000 accounts on it. So those might be some new words to you, so I figured I would go explain some. Cryptocurrency is a currency. It's a way that you can sort of like move money back and forth, but it's not controlled by a government. It's controlled by a open and public accounting system, often called a ledger, and all of us are interacting with that ledger. Now, in Steemit's case, the actual platform is called Steem, or Steemed. And if you actually want to look at when you go log into Steemit, Steemit is both a company and it's a website, and that website is running a separate program called Condenser. If you're old like me, you might actually remember this thing called microfiche. And back in the day, before there were computers, and they probably still do this anyways, but your library would go have microfiche, and so newspapers would print, and then instead of storing thousands and thousands of pages of the newspaper, what they would do is they'd shrink it down to this super teeny tiny size, and they put it on a little thin sheet of plastic, and that was called microfiche. And then you would use this basically like a microscope to go look at what was written on that. And I actually think that's a decent analogy to what the blockchain is. The blockchain is like that tiny little, it's got like every single piece of data that's ever been written on it since, a year and a half ago when we started. So there's a ton of information there, but you don't want to go have to like look at everything. Instead, what you want to do is you just want to look at that one teeny tiny piece that you're interested in. And that's what the program Condenser does. And so when you log into Steemit, steemit.com, you are actually using Condenser. That's the program, and it's open source, and you could download it from GitHub if you wanted. And you use that program to go look at the entire blockchain. And on that blockchain is every piece of information around. It's what did you vote for, what comments, what posts, what transfers. There's probably some other ones. There's producer rewards. There used to be mining. I'm sure that there's some other things that I'm forgetting, but basically everything that you can think to do on Steemit is logged on the blockchain. And then Steemit as a website is literally just kind of scrolling through all of that information just to find the bits that you're interested in. Okay, so that is a rough take on what Steemit is. Steemit has these things called witnesses. If you don't know what a witness is, I do want to explain that briefly. A witness is it's two things. A witness is both a person and it's a server, like a computer server. And what that computer server is doing is actually constructing the blockchain and storing all of that data publicly and accessibly. And so when you are, when you post, it's the witnesses that actually turn that post and the text that you typed, and we're the ones that are actually adding that information to the blockchain. I'm saying we because I happen to be one of the witnesses. There are 20 witnesses that go in rotation. Basically, every minute, one of the 20 is going to go witness a block, which means they add that block of information. All the comments, all the votes, all the witness votes, all the transactions, whatever you do on this thing, the witness adds that every 3 seconds, and there's 20 primary witnesses. So every minute, one of those guys is going to go add a new block. And then there's a backup witness. So out of a minute and 3 seconds, 20 of the blocks are witnessed by the top witnesses, and then once every 3 seconds you have a backup witness that will go in. They fill in, and that's a rotating position. So the backup witnesses once every 3 seconds, or about 1,400 times a day, there's a backup witness that will come in and they will witness one of those blocks. And so when you vote for a witness, they're the people that run the servers that literally construct the blockchain. They also happen to be people that go and do things for the community. They get paid for the service. They get paid not only to run these servers, but they get paid more than it takes to run the servers, and most people expect stuff out of them. And so this is actually the whole PalNet community, the whole peace, abundance, and liberty thing that you see here, and the Minnow Support Project is actually my witness project that I co-founded with some of the other witnesses that you can see on the top right. And so what we do collectively is we've created a community for people on the Steemit blockchain, because Steemit isn't actually like all that great of a communication system. Like, it's great for posting and it's great to talk about what you've done, and it's like a wonderful town crier, or it's a wonderful way to like put up a notice. But there's no messaging. It's not perfectly social for social media. So there's some pieces that are missing. You could do this on Steemit Chat, but Steemit Chat has its own issues. So I eventually created this thing called the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty Chat Room, and it's housed in Discord. So Discord is a program, and it's a program that you can use to link your posts, that you can type messages, you can type public messages in chat rooms, and you can post private messages to other members. And like you're seeing, you can also have conversations in the various channels. So right now there's tons of people that are sitting in the MSP Ways radio listening channel, and you guys are hearing my voice, and you're listening to this. This is all hosted through it's all getting hosted through Discord. Discord is just a really convenient place you know, it started as like this nerdy, like, let's go play video games and we'll stream our video games and we can communicate on here. But because it was made for this sort of gaming community and because it's kind of this nerdy thing, they made it so that you can actually run programs through here. And that's actually a big part of this because that's going to lead me to some conversation about bots that we are using and sort of accounts that are on here. So what is peace, abundance, and liberty? What is this whole place? There is a public, the witnesses who are publicly elected officials on the Steemit blockchain, some of us got together and said, there's a major problem in that minnows basically get lost on here. A minnow is basically defined as anybody with less than 5,000 steam power. And so we said, a bunch of us got together and said, we really need to create something to go help minnows get further along on this platform. You know, I started by, one of the things that happened to me was Fierstikin, who runs the SteamSpeak, there's a whole bunch of Discord servers. I started over in SteamSpeak that's run by Fierstikin. And, you know, after having been there a while, I recognized it was this really powerful thing. And after having gotten like somewhat of a relationship going with him, I made a couple posts. You know, I hadn't been doing so well on the platform. You know, after 8 months, I still only had like 450 followers or something. It was pretty small. And I mostly made kind of asshat comments and nothing all that productive. But then I started reading Kalen art, and I learned how to write a really nice post on here, just how you have to format it, put in images, put in your headers. I just watched what she did because she was quite successful, and I made a post that explained this is how you can post like Kalen does so that you too can be successful. And she was kind enough to re-steam that, and Fierstikin was kind enough to re-steam that, and like within a week or two, I went from something like 450 followers to just shy of 1,000. And it immediately made me realize that Steam is this incredibly powerful platform, and you can use it to go help other people, and you can help other people. But what's amazing is that normally if you want to do charity, I have to give something of mine to you, and I lose the thing that I have. Steemit is unique in that I can give something to somebody else, but I don't have to lose it. I can, you know, a re-steam costs me nothing. And in some ways, a delegation, it's not like I've lost my own net worth. I can give away some proceeds to other people, but I still get to keep the principal investment, which makes this thing like a really unique platform. I can give and I can do charity and I can contribute to others, but I don't actually have to lose something. And I learned that because of these two re-steams. And so one of the first things I wanted to do was create a place where I can help other people primarily through re-steaming. And so if you haven't noticed, on the Minnow Support wall, since basically actually even before June 11th, before this place even started, I've been doing a weekly re-steam contest to try to help people get the word out and just get their posts out and figure out, hey, this is what we can do to get you a viewership. And I have sort of a sassy quote on there that I put on there of like, it's the ancient Steemit saying of, if you give a man an upvote, you'll feed him for a day, but if you give him a re-steam, he'll grow forever. I forget exactly what my quote is, but you know, it's that idea of one upvote isn't actually all that sustainable. What is sustainable is a large following of people that are whales that upvote your material. And so what I'm trying to do is just basically find a way to help other minnows experience the same meteoric rise that I had just through re-steaming of quality posts. And so that's where this thing started. That's where this thing started from. And so there's two parts of this. There is the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty chat room, and the mission of this place is to spread those values. It's to spread peace. It's to spread abundance. It's to spread liberty, and sort of the recognition that those things. I taught at a maritime college, and I've used a lot of sort of nautical imagery or themes, but I think of it like I'm on a ship steering this place, And my goal is to steer people towards those things. And peace, abundance, and liberty are a tack, like a sailing tack that we are on. Those are the destinations. And it's this sort of moving target because it's not always clear what does it mean to be peaceful, what does it mean to be abundant, and what does it mean to have liberty. And so that's what a lot of this place is about, and that's what we're trying to foster here. Okay, so then the Minnow Support Project lives within this PalNet Discord. And the Minnow Support Project is very specifically geared towards how do we grow Steemit, because I put out an economics post when I was applying for this gig of being a witness, and my basic sentiment on how economics work is that the value of your currency is based off of how much goods and services are traded in your currency. And one of the best approximations for how much goods and services are in your currency and in your ecosystem is how many people are in it. And so to me, it became very obvious that if I wanted Steem to be worth more, we would have to get more people involved. And as I looked around, I said, here's the central challenge. We have this really cool platform, and it does some really amazing things. It can create abundance at a click of a button. Because there's reputation and because of flagging, which I know this might be a touchy subject, but because flagging exists, it actually makes people tend towards peace because there's a cost associated if you actually behave badly on here. And then in terms of liberty, this is not a completely censorship-free experience, but it's actually remarkably censorship resistant unless the community deems you to be a terrible troll and we don't want the trash you're talking. And so it's not perfect in all of those. It's not perfect in all of those places. And you know, I see Lima saying she's been flagged for stupid reasons. There's usually not a single person, especially Minnow, that hasn't been flagged for some idiotic thing. But that's part of the sort of growing up experience of being in here. So the I'm reading chat and suddenly like my brain gets tossed in the wrong direction. But anyways, look, this place is designed to not only spread the values of peace, abundance, and liberty, but it's also designed to go help minnows grow their accounts. And so if we want Steem to grow and we want Steem to have value, we need more minnows. And so we have to grow the platform. And one of the first things that I noticed is that people were coming here, they would make a couple posts, and they'd be, frankly, pretty crappy posts. I mean, if you look at my very first post, it was horrible. And I see that not only for me, but a lot of people that come here. They'll come in, they'll make a terrible post, and they'll say, where's my $100 at? And they don't get it, and then they leave. And so part of what I'm trying to do with this thing is create a community around this to try to like just try to help people come together, figure out what the ropes are, try to make this try to make it a better experience, have a little community around us, and then also provide them with some upvotes. So this is going to get us into the three types of community accounts that are actually available here within the Minnow Support Project. So collectively, there's over like 500 delegations. So I guess I should say what a delegation is. There are three main things that matter to you. You have your Steem power, your Steem, and your SBD. SBD is like a pegged currency. It's always meant to be $1. Steem is sort of like how you pass back and forth a more flexible, it's like a stock. It's like a stock of owning this place. How many Steem you have kind of determines how much stake weight you have. And lastly, you have Steem power. And Steem power is what determines how strong the votes are around here. So the more Steem power you have, the bigger a vote you can make and actually put larger post rewards onto somebody's post. But what some people choose to do, especially those that are on the wealthier side, they like to delegate some of that wealth to others. And so imagine if you own like a stock that pays dividends. Instead of keeping those dividends, you instead decide to allow somebody else to get those dividends, and I'll just keep my stock. That's kind of what delegation is like. It's like saying any dividends that come in, I don't need to keep them. I will help out this other person or group. And so there's ways that you can delegate your Steem power. And we as a community have over 500 delegations. I think it's like 560 right now. And it's for about 150 to 200,000 Steem power that are in this place now. Most of that Steem power is sitting on a bot by the name of, or an account called Minnow Support. So you can go on to Steemit. There is a wall at Minnow Support, and you can go see the sort of community account that's there. And what you can do is you can use Minnow Support in a collaborative fashion. So what I did is I worked with a guy by the name of Inertia, and he's the person that created Banjo, which is this really incredible and powerful bot that you can give it commands and it'll go look up all kinds of information on the blockchain or prices or tell you cool stuff. And we made like a very simple version of it, and we tied it to Minnow Support. And so that bot has the private posting key, which means that it can post and upvote. But instead of giving that private posting key to everybody in the universe, it's only housed on this one program. And then what happens is anybody that's in Minnow Support now has the ability to go into the upvote channel, post a Steemit URL, give it a command, and it'll get a vote from the @Minnow Support account. So to me, this is like cyborg creation or cyborg curation. Yes, there is a program that allows multiple people to run this community bot or this community account, but every single vote that @Minnow Support makes is actually a human comes in here, leaves a message, and they upvote their post that way. So there's a timer on this, and you only get one vote every 12 hours. So you as one human, assuming you are just one human, you can get one vote every 12 hours. Okay, so that's the first kind of bot that we have here. I have a second program that's called MSP3K. It was created by a person by the name of NetUoso, who is also a witness. And it allows, what we did there for just one account, he's made it so that we can have multiple people come in and get curation rights to a variety of accounts. And so right now there's something like 15 different accounts that we've created that are used to go promote various things. But now there's a way that we as a community can all sort of curate from a community account without having to share the private posting key with everybody. So one example of this, I'll pitch my own thing. I got a voting bot that I keep. It's called Love Juice, and you can go send it like a little bit of SBD, and it'll go upvote your post for a small amount. And it's meant to go help minnows get more traction on their posts when they first start. Well, one of the things that I've done is in this program MSP3K, I've given basically the moderators and a few other curators in here access to this so that they can re-steam posts and get the 1,000 followers to go view the post that they think is important. So I'm not giving them the private posting key, but they did get access to MSP3K, and now they can use that program to go curate from a community account. And so that's actually pretty important, right? Because you want, if you have I'll give you one example where it's a little less selfish. It's the Turkish community, or the Venezuelan community, or the African community, or the Canadian community. I've gone and created a community account for them as a third-party escrow service. I have agreed that I will give everybody access without giving the posting key, and everybody is free to go sort of make upvotes and make do re-steams and kind of curate how they'd like. And that way you can sort of get communities focused on a single account to go sort of share the best practice or share things that community thinks is important. So that's what MSP3K does. So that's bot number 2. So the first bot was just @Minnow Support, which is a shortened version of Banjo, which is a cyborg voting. The next one here was MSP3K, which lets a handful of people have access to the same account, but without sharing the keys. And then we have a third bot, which has been created by... the third bot has been created by Follow BTC News and Crimson Clad. And what this thing does is it allows, when you delegate to an account that's one of our community accounts, it will automatically start upvoting you. And so this way, if you're part of that Canadian, I'm just using the Canadians as an example, if you're part of that Canadian community and you really want to go support the Canadian community and you want to go give... you want to go give some delegation to that community to help, you know, the geographic region of Canada and the Steemians that are there and support their posts. If you delegate to that Canadian bot, you'll automatically get votes back. And that way, you know, the votes are small relative to the amount of SP that you've probably delegated, but it's a nice way to get at least something for the delegation that you've put in. And so here's this kind of whole ecosystem where we have taken what's worked really well for Minnow Support to go have this community account and community curation, and we have created additional tools to allow any community in the Steemit ecosystem to go now have their own community account, and if they delegate to it, they'll get votes back. Because the only thing better to me than having one Minnow Support project on the Steemit blockchain would be having many of these. And that sounds quite powerful to me, because I just want to create more and more community, because this is kind of weird. What you might not expect about Steemit is that it's almost as much about who you are and who your relationships are with and who your friends are, as it is about what is it that you're actually posting on. And I think that's weird for a lot of people to come in. They just think, you know, I write awesome content, it should be worth millions. But it's not actually that simple. Even if you're the best author, the best authors are sort of like the minimum level of what it takes to get really rewarded around here. Not only do you have to be a good author, but you really have to help build community and help build friends, or show that you somehow support the ecosystem that's here. Because those are the people that we like to support. Those are the people that the whales will support. You know, you create a program that plays along well with the blockchain, and you'll start seeing like hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars for that. Okay, so I think that helps explain what this whole place is. There's a variety of channels, so I'm going to go kind of scroll through this thing. There's your very generic, like, open to everybody communication areas that are at the top here. There's orientation, start here, registration, some of our general conversations, the MSP Wave stuff. And then you can't see all of this, I don't think, but there's some ways that the moderators and the witnesses communicate. Then there's some MSP services, and we have things like bounties that will pay out. If we want posts to go out, we'll pay people to go write them, and it's a contest. We have an abuse, we have fiction room, we have poetry workshop, we have some MSP meetups, we have some post promotion. So there's some services that we provide. There's some interest specific communities, those that like contests or crypto trading or gaming, sort of the spiritual groups of Love and Light. There's a quiet room for people that like to go slower. There's a rap battle royale. You might even find some of my own lyrics sitting in the rap battle royale. And then further down, there's some country-specific channels too. So we have either language-based or country-based channels, so that different groups can come in here. And if you speak French, you can find other minnows or other community members that do that. And then there's a variety of the voice channels that are all the way at the bottom as well. So hopefully what we're doing is we're creating some community spaces where everybody's welcome, some services where people that want to help you do certain things, you can show up there and get help. Maybe you're just here because you have similar interests of other people and you want to just talk nerdy about sports or something or science. Go ahead. There's rooms for that. Or maybe you're looking for a community of not just people that like science, but maybe you're looking for a community of people that like Australia or like Turkey or something. So there's a whole bunch of like country specific ones so that you can help find a geographic community as well. Okay, so what else do I have here? Okay, there's some roles on the left side of your screen. That's what you saw over there. On the right side of your screen, there's a whole bunch of different roles and names in different colors. So you have the we made the choice to have the on-air DJ because this whole thing is being recorded. We're all on a radio station, a streaming radio station right now, and it's all getting recorded. And that the radio station is called MSP Waves, and so I'm the on-air DJ. So that's the highest rank in the channel at any given time. Below them are the witnesses. So I mentioned that this place was created by witnesses. These are the publicly elected officials that are on the blockchain. You can find them here up at the top right. There's a variety of moderators and junior moderators. Main Event is our newest moderator. We're probably going to be putting out a post soon looking for new moderators. We have giant delegators like EternorX. We have some other giant delegators like Lexiconical. We have some, pretty sizable delegations from the 1000 SP crowd. We have some greeters that are here. Greeters help make friends and help kind of acquaint you to this place. And then below the delegators, you start getting a couple of the groups. And underneath some of the groups, we have some whales that are typically sitting in our channel as well. And then underneath that, we have just some girls that love being girls, or some people that love being part of the Peach crew. And then we have some members as well. We have some bots. We have people that are registered but aren't actually members. And then I think that's the bulk of all the people. And then there's just people that aren't even registered. They just came in here, hang out, or talk to us, or come in and use the vote bot, or came in here once and just kind of chill every now and then. I don't know. It's a big mix of different types of people that are in here. So that's your orientation to this place so far. What else do I want to know? There's some bots. So there's bots that are on like the Steemit side, but there's also bots that are housed just within this Discord. So you can see I typed this command T rank. It tells you that my server level is 35 and that I'm the 21st most talkative person on the server. I can also do a command like T-server, and that will tell you that right now there's 4,000. Oh man, you're all doing it right now. But there's something like 4,729 people that are part of the Minnow Support Project or part of the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty online community. And these are actually all active people because we actually scrub the list basically once a week or so of the people that haven't been in here or said anything for 30 days. We'll take them out of here. So there's 4,730 people that are in here that are actually active members of this community. And you'll see that we have silly things like we give reputation points, which are just sort of like, funny things that we'll give to one another to just sort of show support or show you're cool. They don't actually do anything. But there's bots in here. You can also do things that, like I can do power aggroed. And so this is actually like the banjo command. This is one of the commands for banjo. And it'll actually tell you how many votes that I've made in the past while. Maybe it'll tell you how much steam power I have. Maybe banjo is having a little bit of a hard time tonight. But there's bots in here. No, there it is. So I'm at 95.96% voting power. I made 87 votes today. I made 84 votes yesterday. And if this keeps going, it'll be at 100% in 5 hours. So there's some pretty nice, useful things that you can use these are separate. Like, using the word bots is actually kind of unfortunate because there's lots of different types of bots. You know, we have the Minnow Support thing, which is this cyborg. We have the MSP3K, and we have the Delegation Vote Helper. Those are both kind of Steemit only bots. You have Tatsumaki that actually lives in here, and you know, I can even do really obnoxious things like create pictures of cats, or call up pictures of cats. So I think that's a pretty decent introduction to this place. What I'd like to do is just sort of open this up to anybody that has a question. So if you have a question, what I'd like you to do, if you want to come on air and ask me a question, just put a 1 into the chat. And if you, yeah, that's how you do the cat. I forgot how to do it. But if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, go right ahead. And so Toriko is putting a 1. I'm going to go drag Toriko into my voice channel here, and she's going to be able to go say hi to me. And if anybody else would like to go have a conversation with me, you are more than welcome to as well. So, Toriko, welcome. You are on air. Can you just say hello so people are familiar with your voice? Toriko. I'm not sure that Toriko can hear me right now. So
hold on, sorry, I forgot to unmute.
There we go. So, hello, Toriko. It's always wonderful to hear your voice. It's always wonderful to be in chat with you. I'm right now. I do want to clarify. These questions are orientation specific. In 15 minutes, I'm happy to go answer any other questions. But if you have a question specific to orientation, go ahead and ask.
I have one silly question, and you know, you have the lovely cat bot. When does the dog bot get here? Because you know, I'm the puppy.
The dog command is broken, and that's not my fault. That's actually the fault of
Shane.
Yeah, it's probably Shane's fault, but it's actually Tatsumaki's fault. Like, that's a very distant program. That is not our baby. That's not something we created. I'm sorry that the dog command doesn't work. Like, the wombat command doesn't work.
So very disappointing. I'm sure the kangaroo command doesn't work either, and all the poor Australians, I mean.
I know, it's horrible. Okay, so I can't help you out with dog. I apologize for that. Is there, do you have any other questions about orientation within here?
Well, you were mentioning bots, and you might actually get to this eventually. I'm curious because I see a lot of members using this bot or that bot, and other people saying, oh, you know, don't use bots to upvote yourself. They're all going to suck you dry. And are there any good bots that you can use to upvote yourself? And how do you figure that out?
So I'm neutral on bots. One of the things that happen, so there's a term called hard fork, and hard fork is basically what software version the Steemit blockchain is on. We are currently on hard fork 19, which you might think of as hard fork or like version 19 of a piece of software. And part of that was this thing called linear rewards, and when they moved from a different type of rewards to linear rewards, it becomes available that like you don't need anybody else to vote on the same thing to make it have a worth. Just your vote alone can make it have value, and that wasn't true before. And what it did is it opened up the world to a lot of these different types of community bots or community or even voting bots now. That now have the ability that if you pay them or if you just because one bot upvotes you or even one whale, they can now have a lot of value. I'll give you an example. James C is he had one of the 5 highest amounts of Steem on the platform. And once every so often, I would actually get a pretty good vote from him of a high value. But both because the value of Steem was low and because of how this like voting system worked, even his mega whale status only led sometimes to a $7 vote or a $50 vote. And that's because you needed all like hundreds of other people to pile on to a post to actually give it strong rewards. And that went away. And now what we have is this linear reward system. And when you're in a linear reward system, any vote that comes in, it just gives you how much steam power or how much rewards the amount of steam power it has can command. And it doesn't matter if other people voted or not. That it'll just give you the same thing if 1,000 people vote or if just that one thing voted. So so what's a good value? You know, Minnow Support is a good value to me because it is a free bot. You don't pay, you don't do anything, you log in, you upvote your post, and that's it. So there's really nothing better than that because it's free. The challenge, of course, is that because it's free, there's over 1,000 people that use this every day. And so how much value you get for a single vote isn't typically that high. You have other bots that are like Rando Whale, Booster, or my own bidbot, Love Juice. Osbitbank runs one called Discordia. And you can send small amounts of SPD to these things, and they will upvote your post. And they usually will pay more than what you paid. That's not a guarantee, but that's usually pretty good. Yeah, so so that's what I got. You know, there are voting bots that are good. There's even calculators that will tell you about when it's a good time to vote using them. But none of those things are really guaranteed. And frankly, like, because Steam is a volatile price thing, you know, if Steam is really low and lots of people have voted, then it might be a bad time to go use a voting bot. If Steam is really high and not many people are using that service at that moment, you might get a 50x return. It's kind of this complicated equation, but there's websites that'll show you what bids will actually still be profitable. Does that answer your question?
I'm not a good.
You're awfully quiet, Torco.
I told Clay that I'd talk quietly because he said I'm rather loud. I think I understand. Are there any articles that you can possibly point to give a better understanding of this?
Not off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
That's good.
Maybe I'll put one, or maybe somebody will put one out there based off of this. But yeah, I mean,
I'm a reading person, so
yeah,
it's always better if I can read it a couple of times.
I mean, mostly I'd say find bots that are free and try to get those. But honestly, the bots are a small part of this. I mean, so we have a phrase or a saying that's part of the Minnow Support Project of come for the bots, but stay for the community. And this goes back to the very beginning of this of like, I didn't create this place just so I could give one big upvote. That one big upvote isn't what launched my pathway on Steemit, and I think I'm pretty successful at this point. But it wasn't launched because of a big upvote. It was launched because of a re-Steam. So like, you know, in a lot of video games like World of Warcraft or something, you have to go grind out resources. And there's lots of different things that you can grind out in Steemit. You can grind Steam, you can grind Steam Power, you can grind followers, you can grind votes, you can grind, like, I don't know, there's probably some other stuff too. But my thought would be the single most important thing is how many followers do you have? How loyal are those followers? Are they actually reading your post consistently? And lastly, are they whales? You know, if you have loyal whale followers, you're going to make a killing on this platform. And if you have a bunch of unloyal minnows that don't care about you or your comments or your posts because you did a lot of follow for follow, you're not going to have a successful time. So even more important, you know, in the short term, sure, getting a couple posts trending because you spend money to get bots to vote on them, to push the price up so that more people see them or think that they might have value. You know, that's a strategy, and that might work in the short term. But the long-term strategy for success is really about interacting with people, finding a community, building a community, supporting other people, and using that to go launch your career here, as opposed to, you know, just concentrating on SBD, because SBD is very short term, whereas followers who really find you as a person valuable and you as a comment, or the creations that you put into the community valuable, those are the people that will actually give you a sustainable earning here.
Excellent. And then I have another question. I'm sorry, I was missing for the first couple of minutes of the program, and you might have touched on this a bit. And you might not want to get into it. I'll leave that up to you. But I've heard a lot of theories as to why Steemit functioning correctly. Would you like to touch on that a little bit?
I mean, so there are two types of witnesses out in the world. Some are highly technical and some are highly social. I am more on the social side than the technical side. So I can tell you what I have read, and I have read from other witnesses and other witnesses that I think highly of, and even some of the sort of messaging from Steemit themselves. We've recently been under a DDoS attack, a denial of service attack, and it has caused a lot of problems. They are responding to it to the best of their ability. They have created a lot more clones of Condenser, which is what we've used to view the site to make it harder to target any single one. They spend a lot of money to go try to thwart the people that are attacking us, either looking to disrupt the chain or looking to steal passwords. But that's what we've been dealing with, which is why this thing has been a little slow. And while your first thought might be, wow, that's terrible, it's horrible, to me, it's actually a sign of growth that, you know, like a lot of minnows will, I made a post about the first big flag I ever got from Bernie Sanders, because to me, it was like I had leveled up enough that like I actually made it onto his radar enough that I should be flagged. And that was kind of cool to me, even though I was getting flagged, and that's a bad thing. I'm like, wow, I leveled up to the point where something neat is happening. A whale is actually paying attention to me. And vice versa, or like in a similar vein, I would say here, you know, getting a DDoS attack is kind of a crappy thing, and it's not something we want to deal with. But as we grow, there's going to be more of this happening, and it's actually in some ways a sign of health that other people are taking note of what we're doing, and they think, oh, wow, I want to either break into that or steal that or do something. So it's kind of, I mean, that was kind of a big deal to me. Okay, so we only have 5 more minutes. Torko, you've asked a couple questions here. I'm going to go put it out to the room, and we remember there's a 7-second delay here. But is there anybody else that would like to ask me orientation-style questions? The Minnow Mayor Town Hall is going to start in 5 minutes, so you can ask me the hard-hitting stuff later. But anybody that wants to ask me a question live in this room, you're welcome to. Just put a 1 in. But I guess that's going to be Cubby. So Squirrel, I'm going to bring you back into the listening room, and I'm going to go bring in McCubby. So where did Cubby? You're going to make this hard for me. Cubby, can you pull yourself in to the room? Because I actually, can I do this now? No, I can't grab you, Cubby. There's so many people in the room that I can't successfully pull you in. All right, Cubby, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great, Cubby. So these are still orientation questions, not Minnow Mayor Town Hall questions. So go ahead and hit me with your orientation style questions, my dear.
But first, hello, friends. Hi, Mugsy. Okay, my question is, you talked about witnesses, but I don't know if you mentioned how one goes about voting for witnesses and why they should.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Okay, so on Steemit, you go to steemit.com/witnesses, and you can go pick your favorite witnesses. You should be witness voting because, like, they get paid a fair amount of money to do this, and they should be offering services to help this platform. And it's sort of good to either be a witness yourself, or it's good to help, like, have relationships with them and sort of share your feelings on, we need more support kind of going out there and fighting this DDoS attack so my transactions are faster or something. Like, if that's important to you, you can't just like complain in the abstract or on a post. The people that can do something about that are either the witnesses or the Steemit Inc. employees. And so you're going to want to talk to them. So to vote, there was a link that got put into the chat. And the Minnow Support Project, I guess I will go plug some folks here. We have a lot of witnesses that support this place. So you've listened for a while. If you like the mission of this place, then please support the witnesses that are coming out of here. And the best place to find that information is that follow BTC News, and Crimson Clad won a Medal of Honor for having created a website for this place. So if you go to minnowsupportproject.org, somebody can go put that into the chat, please. If you go to minnowsupportproject.org, you can find out who the different leaders are and the witnesses that are in here, and hopefully you can go vote for them. All right, next up, Cubby, we only got a couple more minutes here, and then I'm switching over. So what other questions might you have?
That's all that I had. I just wanted to make sure to admit.
All right, well, Cubby, please drag yourself back into the main chat room. Is there somebody else that would like to go say hi to Agrode? It looks like Clay is in the waiting room. So Clay, you're on the air. We're still in the orientation meeting, so no hard-hitting stuff. That can happen in like 5 minutes or something. But do you have a question for me, Clay?
No, I was more thinking I was going to roll over into the next show.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pull you back into the waiting room. It looks like I have Alexandru Constantine. Alexandru, you are on the air with me. We are still in orientation mode. So don't ask me hard-hitting things. Ask me orientation-related questions. Are you there? You were texting me. Yes, you don't know? My mic. All right. So we're going to pull him out. Okay, so you can ask me these things later. It's not going to be on air right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this discussion of the orientation section. If you have orientation-style questions, I will continue to answer those for folks. I'm going to go play one musical song to sort of show that there is an interlude or some break between my last show, which was the orientation meeting, and a new show, which will be the Minnow Mayor Town Hall. And if you have been biting your tongue, holding your tongue, waiting for an opportunity to go ask me the hard-hitting questions, I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to change my name from Agrode to Skanky J, because that was my DJ name back in college, and I just like thinking that I'm back in college doing this. So I'm going back to Skanky J, and if you'd like to ask me things, you can. At this point, you can ask me anything. The one thing that I am asking is please try not to like attack me with whatever questions you have. You are welcome to sort of ask whatever, but just don't do it in sort of a personal attack way. You could say, here are the things that I don't like. And if you come after me, you are likely to hear this phrase, you are currently complaining. What I would like you to do is upgrade your complaint to a request. So complaints about decisions that I may or may not have made in the past aren't always something that I can change. And so all that you can do is say, I didn't like this thing. Here is how I would like it to be in the future. So I will put those things into the universe and ether for you guys. Okay. So now I'm going to play a song, and if you would like to come on air, just hop into the waiting room, and I will pull you up from the waiting room. We're going to play the song, and then when we come back, we are no longer in orientation mode, and we are back to the Minnow Mayor Town Hall, and we'll follow that format. So with that, I guess I have to stop my OBS recording.